Okay, now that we've completed our 2 upper sides, we are going to now work on side 1 lower. So what we've got to do is we need to cut 2 yards of the fire line and string a stop bead with an 8 to 10 inch tail. And the first thing we're going to do is pick up 6 11/0 seed beads. And we are working with this by itself for just a couple of steps until we are ready to attach to the other piece. So I'm going to string 6 seed beads down to the stop bead. Basically, we're almost starting out like we did at the very beginning. Now we're going to run our needle through the 2 middle seed beads that I have here, and I'm just going to run it up from the bottom through these 2 middle ones. And again, we're building that little flap. So and then we'll be ready for the next bead. Okay, now, just as we have done this whole time, is we're going to pick up 1 11/0 seed bead, and we're going to run it back down through those 3, and then this is where we start. After this is when we're going to connect it to the other 2 sides that we have. So I've got my 11/0. I'm going to run it through the 3. And instead of adding a 3mm round, this is when we're going to be joining it, and I'm going to push my stop bead up here, tighten everything up. This is when we're going to be joining the second piece by sharing that 3mm on the first upper side. Okay, this is that center 3mm that we started off with. And then this is the second one, or the first of the 50 that we added. So this is the one I'm going to go through. So here's my little flap. Here's where my thread comes out, and it's ready to go through that 3mm. So what we're going to do is we're going to run our needle through this 3mm, and it just kind of gets a little difficult just starting off, just trying to position getting something comfortable and getting it to where you can work it in. And it flops around until we really get it going. So just as we've been doing in the previous steps, we're going to go up through these 2 in this flap, and it's almost a little bit of the opposite direction. Okay, let me pull it and I'll show you what we've got here. Let's see what we've done. Is we're just sharing that 3mm. So here we would just continue on. We're going to pick up some more 11/0 seed beads here, and I will show you how to do that. Okay, we're going to string our 4 seed beads on. This is very much like what we've been doing, exactly like what we've been doing, but we're sharing a 3mm instead of adding one. So we've got our 4. We're going to go back up through the last 2, or the first 2 strung. Make that little flap. This time it's going to swing this direction. Pick up 1 11/0, run it down through the 3, now that our thread is here, we're going to run it through this 3mm, and then up through these 2. Just as we've been doing. And this is what we're going to do for the whole entire side. And then we'll be just that much closer to being complete with it. Again, I'm going to show you again. I'm going to do 4 seed beads. I did find at this point that sometimes my loose strands got in the way, or strings. You may want to anchor them down somehow. Pick up 1 11/0, run it through the 3, and of course if you have to add thread, at any point, you just do it with some half hitch knots. Run it up through the 3mm, and then through the 2. And continue that up all the way through this, up the side. Now that I'm nearly, or I am at the end of this lower side, all I'm going to do is pick up 2 more. After I've gone through this last 3mm beads, I'm going to pick up 2 more 11-ohs. Actually, yeah, 2 more 11-ohs and a stop bead. And then we'll put this, let me get my stop bead here. And again, for a stop bead, I like to use a different seed bead than what I'm working with. So I'm going to put my stop bead on there, thread through, and then this is what we'll have. So you should have something like this, the full length of one side, and then we'll simply do a start the other side. Now that I'm at the end of the bracelet, all I'm going to do is take my needle up through this last 3mm, and just as we've been doing all along, I'm going to bring it up through these 2, the little flat. I'm finding it, there we go. And then we're going to end it with 2 11-ohs and a stop bead. And again, I like to use a stop bead that is something different than what I'm working with, so that I don't get it confused and try to string through it. So I'm just going to string it on and then run my needle back through it. And this is what you should have. You should have something that looks like this all the way up one side, and then we'll be ready to begin the second side. Okay, again, just as we did when we started the lower side, we cut another 2 yards of the fire line, string on a stop bead, and string on 6 seed beads, and then run your needle up through the 2 middle seed beads. And again, we're creating that little flat. And we're going to pick up 1 11-oh, run it through the 3, until we are again in that position where we would go through that 3mm bead. So we're going to pick up our work here and find your comfortable position on this and run your needle up through. Again, we're not using this center one, we're using the second one up. Run your needle through there, and then up through those 2, the little flat, and again, all we're doing is what we've been doing this whole, on either side. So we're going to pick up our 4 seed beads, and go through the 2 first ones strung, now all my little tails get a little hung up, so just kind of, as I said before, you may want to anchor those down somehow. I think I used a bead stopper once to contain them all. And again, pick up 1 seed bead, 1 11-oh seed bead, go back through the 3, okay, now that I am back again in position where the thread goes through this 3mm round, and then through those 2 in the little flap. And again, we just continued this just as we did the first lower side all the way to the end. And you're going to have just repeat that process all the way to the end.